He was living in a nightmare.
He didn't deserve what he went through. He didn't deserve it.
Carlos Collins' family says the red flags were there.
He basically stalked him.
His ex-boyfriend caught on Ring camera lurking near his apartment, but nobody expected him to shoot Carlos dead at his apartment, then use an axe to finish killing him.
Immediately, I thought Marcus.
The ex-boyfriend, a former police officer, is now in police custody himself, but shocking revelations in court. The murder was caught on Ring camera.
And it's just crushing me to, have to watch his final moments.
Why his family says police dropped the ball. The restraining orders didn't work.
Just surprised that it happened in this way.
A prominent lawyer stepping into the shade room about it and what we all really need to do to protect ourselves from this kind of violence.
It's ridiculous. It should never happen.
I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. You could tell that Carlos Collins loved life just by looking at his social media. And it was also reflected in his work as well as a nurse, and he was a favorite amongst his patients and his colleagues. But all that light was dimmed when he met 33-year-old Marcus Johnson at a nightclub in 2022. After a year of dating, his family says they broke up, and then Collins started to notice a pattern of odd behavior that eventually took a deadly turn. Ashley Hudson got a call at 2:30 a.m. April 9th. Her younger sister was hysterical.
And I just heard her scream, this gut-wrenching scream.
Their brother's neighbor had called. It was an emergency.
Stating that they heard what seemed like my brother saying, "Stop, Marcus," followed by several gunshots.
It was gruesome, a violent scene. The Tapestry Northridge Apartments in Jackson, Mississippi. 25-year-old Carlos Collins was found dead in his apartment. Police say the perpetrator used a blunt object in the process of killing him, which we now know was an axe. Hudson says when they got to the scene, police were not forthcoming with information and shooed them away with no compassion.
We even had one officer, walk past us like with a smirk on her face, and like, as she's holding her gun on her holster. I'm like, y'all are treating us as if we did something. Immediately, I thought Marcus.
The hunt was on for Marcus Johnson, Collins' ex-boyfriend, who was nowhere to be found. A day went by, and just as fast as the details of the story made waves on social media, a high-speed chase about an hour away from Jackson in Raysville, Louisiana. Johnson was captured, taken into custody, and confessed to killing Collins.
I was happy that he was caught, but to be honest, it doesn't make me feel safe.
It's shaken this family so much they continue to feel like they're being watched. They say that Johnson is being protected because he has family members that work for Jackson police.
September sometime of last year, that's when the first police call was made, when he was telling the police that he was on the lease and all of that, which he wasn't. And he was like, well, I got toothbrush, clothes and stuff up there. So the police, JPD told my brother by him having clothing there that they can only make him leave for 24 hours.
And when did he file a restraining order?
That next morning. So that happened around 10-ish. So the police told him that he couldn't change the lock because he had clothing up there. But that shouldn't matter because you're not on the lease.
The Shade Room dug further and learned that Johnson was employed with the Jackson Police Department as an officer back in 2013. Police said that he was let go, though, 8 months in pending disciplinary actions, and he resigned just prior to his termination. Also, according to the Clarion Ledger, he found himself on the other side of the law a year later when he allegedly used a fake badge number and wrote a fake ticket to a female student at Jackson State University. He allegedly told her he dropped the ticket in exchange for a hookup. He was later arrested and charged with false pretense, grand larceny, and 2 counts of impersonating an officer. We also did a quick scan of his social media where he lists his current job as a police officer for the city of Jackson. You can also see his photos in uniform and also some unusual posts on his timeline, many of them about relationships.
Hey, don't try to figure me out, because I'll block you and still stalk you.
Even posts alluding to killing a significant other.
Never breaking up. It's either me or nobody else in this world. I love you to death.
And I could just be on Snapchat and Marcus' store would pop up and I can see the same background, like he's in the same environment. I feel as if he stalked my brother from the beginning, because when he introduced us to him, we was at this club called M Bar, and he was kind of like a few tables over. And now that I think about it, every time, like after that, we would go out, but even before he announced that they was in a relationship, like places we would be, like I would see him.
Did you ever tell your brother, I think you should do something about this?
We were the one that encouraged him to, get the restraining order.
Hudson says her brother started revealing more about his relationship with Johnson during a family gathering last year, which ultimately led to those restraining orders. Take a look to the left, too. On multiple occasions after their breakup, Johnson was caught on Ring camera sitting on the steps outside of his apartment building, just waiting.
February, March. That's when he was like, I smoked my hookah last night. I know I had it, but today when I got off work, a flavor that I know I don't use, it was open and it was cut the same way that Marcus would cut it when we were staying together. Just basic things like letting him know, like, I can get in here anytime. I don't care about you changing the locks. Some kind of way he was still getting in the house.
Colin's family says the last 2 months for him have especially been rocky. He recently found air tags and trackers on his car, as well as a Ring camera he believed that his ex had installed at a vacant apartment nearby to spy on him.
All of my siblings can tell you I watch ID channel. That's my favorite true crime. And I watch these type of shows all the time, see the signs, and I still wasn't able to save my brother.
It's a devastating thought as they struggle with the fact that a restraining order wasn't enough to save him either. The Shade Room sat down with prominent attorney Justin Miller about this.
When you have a restraining order, right, it's always better to put on record what's going on so that the police know that there's a problem. Because if they don't know there's a problem now, later on down the line, when something like this happens, they can say, well, you never told us. And in this situation, they did tell him. So, this is a little bit different.
What should people do in a case like this where you're fearing for your life and your safety?
First of all, you need to tell the police, I would write something down and give it to them so they can put it in a file for you. And it says, hey, my name is Justin Miller. This person that said these things, this is why I feel like it's serious, because they have this issue and this mental health issue, and this thing is going on. So you want to make sure you get it in a file. The second thing I would say is you tell the people at your leasing office, you tell the people in your neighborhood, so that they see this car, your neighbors see this car, the people at your leasing office see this person, they know something is wrong and they shouldn't be here. And then the third thing I would say is do the same thing at your job as well, because they can come to your job. That way, then the police have no excuse. And in a case like that, it's a little different, but most people don't do these things. And that's why I'm saying do them now.
We did reach out to the Jackson Police Department for a comment and to ultimately learn more about his family ties and his history with the department. We're still waiting to hear back. Colin's family says they're grateful that Johnson is in custody, and they're now going to be shifting their focus on a proper celebration of life for him. And this is a reminder too, if you are struggling or anybody you know are struggling with domestic violence, you can call a number. It's the national hotline. It's 1-800-799-7233. For TSR Investigates, I'm Justin Carter. Hello, roommates, and thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Do you want more TSR Investigates? Be sure to subscribe and check us out at theshaderoom.com.